I used to start every day feeling like I was losing a race against the clock. I honestly believed that if I could just squeeze 2 more hours into the day, everything would finally fall into place. I'd finally have the space for my side projects. I thought more time was the magic key to fixing my life. But I have to be honest about what was actually happening. Lack of time wasn't the issue. I was just being incredibly reckless with the hours I already had. Realizing this, truly seeing the patterns, was the wake-up call that changed my entire trajectory. It was the turning point. I'm going to share the specific mental shift that took me from constantly feeling too busy to being more productive than I ever imagined possible. It sounds almost too simple to be true, but stay with me because it gets real very fast. It all started when I was venting to a friend about my packed schedule. "I'm buried," I told him. "I'm drowning in work. I need a 30-hour day just to survive." This friend just looked at me calmly and asked, "Exactly how much time did you spend on your phone yesterday?" I shrugged. "Maybe an hour?" He told me to check my screen time app. I pulled it up and my heart sank. 5 hours. I had spent 5 hours on my phone the previous day. That's 5 hours of mindless scrolling and watching clips I didn't even care about. I felt like I'd been caught red-handed stealing from my own future, because that's exactly what it was. I was throwing my time away and then crying about not having enough. I realized then, I didn't have a time problem, I had a priority problem that I was blaming on the clock. Here is the hard truth. You have the exact same 24 hours as the most successful people on earth. They don't get an extra hour as a reward. They aren't living a 25th hour. The gap isn't about motivation or discipline. It's about their fundamental understanding of what time is. Most people view time as something that simply happens to them. "I don't have time" makes it sound like an external force like the weather. But that's a lie. That's what keeps you stuck. The mindset that changes the game is this. Time isn't something you have. It's something you create. You don't find time. You build it by intentionally choosing what you are not going to do. After that talk, I spent a full week tracking every single thing I did. Every meal, every scroll, every minute I spent staring at the wall wondering why I was so stressed. By the end of that week, I was devastated because the data showed I had wasted massive amounts of my life on things that meant nothing to me. I was losing hours to activities I'd forget by the next day. I spent over an hour every single morning just lying in bed on my phone, not even fully awake, just scrolling. That adds up to 7 hours a week. That is an entire workday lost to a mattress. Just scrolling before I even started my day. I watched shows I didn't even like just because they were playing. I let conversations drain me for no reason. I refreshed social media feeds like I was waiting for a miracle to appear in a thumbnail. But here's the really interesting part. I found that during the times I was working, I was actually just procrastinating with busy work. You know how it goes. I just need to clear my inbox first. Let me just straighten up my desk. I need to plan this out perfectly before I take the first step. Those are just clever ways to avoid the actual hard work. So I made a choice. I decided to treat my time exactly like cash. Think about it. If someone asked to borrow $50, you'd ask why, right? You'd weigh the value. You'd decide if it was a good use of your money. Yet we hand out our hours to absolutely anything that asks. A mediocre TV show? Sure, take 2 hours of my life. An app designed to hook your brain? Here's my entire night. A random person interrupting you? Take as long as you want. The shift is this. Every time something demands your time, ask yourself if you'd pay for it. Is it worth the literal price? Would I pay money to stare at social media for 60 minutes? Would I pay cash to watch a show I'm bored by? Would I pay for a pointless argument? Never. So why was I paying with my hours, which are infinitely more precious than money? I started filtering everything through one question. Is this worth a piece of my life? Because that is what time actually is. It is your existence. When you give an hour to something, you aren't just spending time. You are trading a segment of your life that you will never ever get back. Is that scroll worth an hour of my living breath? Is a boring movie worth 3 hours of my time on earth? Is a yes to a social obligation worth my entire Friday night? This question is a punch to the gut. It forces you to confront the reality. Most of what we do daily is not worth our lives. We do it because it's the path of least resistance, or because we're running away from the hard stuff. But once you internalize this, everything shifts. You begin to guard your time like it's the most valuable treasure you possess, because it absolutely is. So I had the mindset, but what was the next step? How do you put it into practice? Here is the system I used. I wrote down every goal that actually mattered to me, the things I'd regret not doing on my deathbed, the passions, the people, the experiences that I actually wanted for my future. Then I checked my schedule and asked, where are these things on my calendar? The answer was nowhere. My days were filled with noise and other people's priorities. The important stuff was waiting for a later that never comes. The truth is, you'll never just have time for the big things. You have to seize it. So I changed my approach completely. I put the non-negotiables first. I blocked out time for my real goals, as if they were high-stakes meetings I couldn't skip. Everything else, it either fit in the leftover gaps or it didn't happen. People thought I was being extreme. You actually schedule your hobbies and projects? What's actually extreme is letting your life slip away while you serve everyone else's agenda. Within a month, my world was different. I finished a project I'd been procrastinating on for half a year. I got back into a consistent fitness routine. I actually started learning that skill I always talked about. Ironically, I felt like I had more freedom than ever, because I stopped leaking time into the void. And here is the catch. I wasn't more stressed. I wasn't working more hours. I just stopped letting garbage fill my schedule. I cut out the excessive social media. I stopped the default TV watching. I said no to the things that didn't help me build the life I want. Suddenly, time appeared. Not because the day got longer, but because I stopped handing my life over to things that didn't deserve it. So here is my challenge for you. Track your time for exactly 1 week. Be brutally honest. Log every hour. Then look at that list and ask, is this how I want my life to look? Because this is your life. Every hour is a piece of you that you are trading away in real time. Once you truly see where it goes, you can't look away. You'll start making better trades. You'll start protecting your minutes. You'll start designing your life instead of just letting it happen to you. You don't need a longer day. You have enough time. You just have to stop wasting it on things that don't matter. The mindset shift is everything. Your time is your life. Spend it like it's priceless. Because it is. If this gave you a new perspective, please like and subscribe for more on how to actually get your life together. And tell me in the comments, what is the biggest time waste you're cutting out this week? Thanks for watching. Remember, you don't need more time. You just need to protect what you have.